Welcome back, Mr. Barnack. You are getting ever closer to the date that will forever change your life, aren't you?
March 15th. So
Three
less than
weeks?
less than a month away. Yeah, from right now.
Well, you seem remarkably calm, at least above the surface of the water, so to speak.
Where they say calm as a duck.
Yep, paddling away like crazy underwater. So let's review. You know what? I'm excited about this because I think we've been hinting about it. We're about to take a little bit of a turn. We spent a lot on who's and stories, and we're about to take a little bit of a turn, and I'm excited about it. But in review, I love the way this section was represented with if you have enough money to solve a problem, you don't have a problem. Hmm. A lot of problems out there, not enough money. Can be though, but problem is focusing on how always limits your ability to make more money, to grow your business, because you're working in it, not on it. And believing that doing all the how stuff yourself is noble, when in fact it's a limiting belief, so not necessarily noble. When you focus on how, it's often based on a scarcity mindset and cost avoidance. So trying to avoid cost by engaging in the hows yourself ultimately costs you and your future. Could be a huge cost over years and years and years. So when you start to look at who's as an investment versus a cost, you can quickly, relatively speaking, grow your income and revenue by 10x, 100x, or more. It starts, as with everything, with yourself. Are you looking at yourself as an investment rather than a cost? By doing so, you can expand your freedom of time, ultimately then money, relationships, and purpose. You can survive without a community, but you can't thrive without one. You need a tribe. So the shift now, which we've been on freedom of time, freedom of money, and we're shifting now into relation. And I think this is time is self-explanatory. Money, it makes the world go around, whatever. But for me, and I know for you, this isn't ultimately about money. I don't believe anybody's actually money motivated. It's what the necessary resources in our lives will bring us in the way of relationships and purpose. So we start now looking at the freedom of relationships. And like everything in this journey, and particularly our entrepreneurial incubator, you need to grow who you are, and you need to do that first. You've got to learn how to become an indispensable who to others. And today, finally, we're starting to discuss the methodology of one of the most connected, valuable who's the author of these books has ever encountered. We're talking about how he approaches, develops, maintains relationships. Now, that could be pretty exciting. His belief is based on the idea that with the right network, any challenge you or anyone in your sphere faces can be overcome. This means once you're in his network, you also simultaneously have access to everyone else in it. And what a cool thing to even consider from where we sit to build something like that. So whether you end up in his network or not, This approach to relationships is applicable to everyone and every relationship that you have or want to have. And ultimately, if you learn, practice, and perfect this approach, you'll be able to create 10x, 100x, or even bigger collaborations, meaning you'll be able to create relationships that over time produce exponentially larger and larger returns for everyone involved. And you'll be able to expand and grow as a person in dramatic and unexpected ways. What's that all translate to? Your ability to succeed in what I refer to the big leagues of whatever you're doing is tied directly to the quality of the people in your life and in your network. And as your time and money freedom increases, you'll automatically increase greater access to more significant who's. This will increase your belief and the size of the goals you both want, and more importantly, are able to achieve. Bigger belief, goals, and results will deepen your sense of meaning and purpose. And it's your ability to connect to and develop relationships with the right particular who's that will determine the freedom of purpose you ultimately enjoy. Now, like I said, I'm kind of excited about this turn. He starts or goes on with a few principles. Why don't you take us through the first one?
Yeah, kick us off with principle one for sure. And I love this first example here. I actually use it all the time when I'm talking to people. And it's like a relationship is like clothing. So if it's a suit you're wearing and it doesn't quite fit right, doesn't make sense to keep wearing it. It isn't functional. And a relationship that isn't functional doesn't really make sense either. Funny, and I love that example because I use it all the time. I tell people, like, dude, just try it on. Think of it as like I'd say like jacket or like a dress, like if you're talking to a lady. I don't think you wear any dresses, Mark, but right, we wouldn't do that.
Don't judge me if I do.
Hey, yeah, I wouldn't, everyone's free to do what they want. But I tell people all the time, like, dude, just try it on, see how it fits, see how comfortable it is, or, see how it feels. And then if you don't like it, you can just take it off and keep moving. Same thing here, right? Same concept with our relationships. Now, you must want to be connected to someone. And if it's a chore, why bother? Right? It's like working towards something that you don't really see any value in or really any long-term benefit in. And if you can't really be yourself in a relationship, then is this relationship, um, sorry, cut that. If you can't really be yourself, then this relationship won't likely contribute to what you aspire to accomplish. So, how do you feel when you're with this person? If you don't feel drawn to this person, if you're not inspired, if it's not easy, you feel like you're forcing something or trying to work towards like something that doesn't feel quite natural, then don't connect, right? It seems pretty simple. Only get connected when the relationships work, not when you have to work on the relationship. I love
Right.
that.
We always say that. Right. We say that as we don't want to convince people of something. And I think sometimes we say that for ourselves, to ourselves, and to others to ease their stress. Oh, I don't have anything to sell you. But the other side of that is I have no intention of trying to convince you because that's a time and energy I don't want to invest.
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, everything gets easier. Like you just mentioned before, when you just continue to surround yourself and find the right people. And there's only one way to find the right people, talk to more people, right? It's kind of like dating, but we're truly only looking for the people that are looking for us. And when you have a conversation with someone and their goals align with your goals and where they're trying to go is in the same direction you're trying to go, it just makes the conversations so much smoother, right? And easier to have. I tell people all the time, like if you're trying to go right and we're trying to go left, right? That's constant tension there. And that's no fun. Nobody wants to do that.
I
Um,
think that you can again expand on that a little bit to say it's not just direction, but it's passion.
yep.
It's I don't want to say moral and ethics, although that's a part of it, but it's belief structure, um, motivation. I don't want to
Values.
fool somebody,
Yep.
so
Cool. Yep. I love all that stuff. And that's something that's very important to us. In fact, like last example I'll share in this, and then I'll roll into principle two for you guys. The whenever I meet someone for the first time, like I tell them the most important thing is like building the relationship and seeing what the connectivity is of us and making sure that on a personal level, we're going to click. We're going to be able to flow. We're going to be able to work together because it just makes it so much more fun and so much easier, right? When you have people around you that are moving in the same direction and to your point, have all those same values and characters. Um, I like having fun, right? And what Shane always says, if you're not having fun, ain't no one going to do it, or it's not worth doing.
it ain't worth doing.
That ain't worth doing. So, principle number two: try not to become a person of worth, but instead a person of value. Like that. Say it again. Try not to become a person of worth, but instead a person of value. Most people want to get more out of life than they put in. A person of value will give more than they receive. We're very go-givers, or go-giver mentality, I should say. If you've read that book or heard of that concept, believe in a very like value add, give first, and the more that you give, the more you receive. It typically always comes back to you at least tenfold. This is a shift in mindset from me to them. Ask what's in it for them. Another way we like to say is like, I'm in service of you, or how can I contribute to you? How can I add value to your business, or how can I add value to your journey? What's in it for me is a terrible way to get access to others. It's impossible to create transformational connection with a taker mindset. I like the taker mindset. I don't like it, but I like characterizing it that way. What's in it for me is transactional and scarcity minded and will only attract similarly minded people. How many times have you heard that before? Right? What you put out is what you attract. Your thoughts, your beliefs, that's what you typically see.
And have you ever had any takers around you before?
I have. Yeah.
Oh, we all have. That was supposed to be
Oh,
like, of course, but
oh. Yeah. I was like trying to think of like the last one. It's been so long since
really, I can think of one right now. But
okay.
anyway, oh yeah,
Well, I mean, and kind of more like in an intentional way, like where I was okay with that scenario. I think I know who you might be talking about, but there's a much bigger purpose there that we can fulfill on together. So, uh,
well, and I'll also add here, humbly, I think at some level, at some point, to varying degrees, we've all been takers.
hmm,
We had to learn these things too. And in fact, again, we're having these conversations with and for all of you to further cement our skill sets in these areas. So, dare I say, there might be days or moments where we still catch ourselves saying, hold on, that's the wrong way to go about this. So, don't feel like, and I don't mean to say that a taker today is necessarily a taker tomorrow. And so if you are somewhat intimidated, perhaps by this conversation, realize the point of what John and I do is to give you a space if you're in our network to learn these things and transform the way you think. And that's okay.
yeah. Well, in order to transform yourself, you've got to be in an environment that pulls for that or calls for that, and around people that are transforming right themselves. And really, you want nothing to do with those types of people. They're parasites. That's kind of a strong word, but um,
Well, if
there's
they're not willing to learn and change, they are parasites.
yeah. Well, and to further that, and I mean, parasites what? Someone that it's a creature, it's a being, it's someone that really just kind of sucks all of the value out of a relationship. And when there's no more left, then they move on, right, to the next thing that they can start sucking value out of. Um, Make sure to determine what they value. Again, right? Alignment, synergies, what they care about, what they want to accomplish. Only then can you approach the connection intentionally with the sole purpose of providing value, again, for them, right? So it's always like, how can I help the person that I'm talking to? How can I add value for them? Again, it just always comes back to the tenfold. When most people are trying to extract all the value they can from someone, if you're focused on adding value, it will stick out above everyone else. This will gain you more access than any others who are sucking value will ever have because people will want to connect with you. You become a person who's like attractive because of the way that you think and because you always want to add value to people around you. Before even attempting to contact with someone
Well,
new.
if I may, real quick there,
Oh, please. Yeah, please do.
and this is going to be. I don't. I'm not attacking the industry. I'm not attacking anybody in particular. On the real estate side of the business, I am going to say be aware, be cognizant as agents out there looking at potential firms that you're going to partner with. I think there can be some sincere intent to help you grow, do more in sales, and make more money for your family. But that's not always the answer because again, it's a trade off. You're actively earning it. So there's going to be more time away from loved ones to uh, to get there, and so be very leery of and dig deep into again the intent and value of a brokerage that is perhaps uh, a little too excited about their interest in and tools for you making more money because again it's ultimately about you selling more, you working harder, and that benefits them a whole lot more than it benefits you.
Yeah. Yeah. Couldn't agree more. And before even attempting to contact or connect with someone new, make sure you determine the value you can bring to them. The value needs to be real, pun intended, and relevant, not just flattery. So you have to be genuine, right? And wanting to help people and wanting to add value to them and want to contribute to them. And if you want the relationship to continue, you must focus on continuing to add value. It's not a you do it once and you're good forever, right? Kind of like a marriage, right? You have to keep working on it, or like a dating relationship. It can also evolve over time. When attempting to connect with others, always focus on what's in it for them. Be sure your vision of value, be sure your vision of the value you can add aligns with their objectives and clearly helps them achieve their goals that they personally have. Be careful because at the beginning, you'll get paid for what you do. But as you achieve more success, you'll be paid for who you are. I kind of like that phrase. It's pretty cool. This can be dangerous and can go to your head.
Well, often we say in building a business, especially when you've not, it's not that you're not adding value, you just haven't, it hasn't compounded yet. And so at the beginning, you're going to feel like you're overworked and underpaid.
Yep.
But again, in building a business and leveraging people, at some point, the tide will turn. What is it? You'll get beyond that tipping point, and
Typically.
at towards the maturity of your effort, you'll feel like you're overpaid and underworked.
Mhm.
Hence, getting paid to do nothing.
Yep. Make sure you stay grounded and continue to nurture by adding ongoing value. Stay committed to what's in it for them. I think we said that a few times today if you haven't got it. Otherwise, you'll burn a lot of bridges And that's a hard mistake to overcome. If your purpose is status and influence, once you've got it, you're likely to be very lazy and or stop being useful to others. If you can persevere, stay useful, and continue being generous, the outcome will be very good for you. Never stop providing value, especially to the most significant who's in your sphere.
Once you get them, take care of them.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean kiss butt. None of this is meant in that vein. Again, if you're genuinely always focused on what's in it for them, you're about the most valuable who in their sphere anyway. And so I'm going to close out with principle 3. If you got 1 and 2 down, surround yourself with people who remind you more of the future than the past. See, self-made is an illusion. When you make it, quote unquote, in the big leagues of whatever your endeavor is, there will end up being many people that played significant roles in you achieving the life you want to live. Make sure to let them know often how grateful you are. The deepest craving of human nature is the need to be appreciated. Nothing is a greater investment than being grateful, genuinely and consistently grateful. When you are genuinely grateful, people will want to help you more. They'll want to work with and for you and be around you because they have an innate need to be valued. So generous and sincere gratitude will also change you. You will become kinder, humbler, and happier. And what does all that add up to? You're going to attract more and more significant who's, because gratitude attracts and creates abundance. Gang, the research is clear. Practicing gratitude has physical, psychological, and social benefits. And ultimately, the underlying of that is just caring. And there is dopamine issues, scientific issues that speak to and prove the personal benefit that we gain by practicing what we've shared with you today. Obviously, we'll be compounding on this, but I think you all can see a little bit of the turn that we've taken. Perhaps a little bit more substance. No, I think definitely a little bit more substance. So I'm looking forward to continuing to dive deeper into that and to build on that. Obviously, if any of this resonates with you, we are actively looking for more collaborative partners. This network we're building will never be big enough. We'll never help enough people. We'll never have enough people within it helping one another. I just had a conversation today with somebody in our network. He was at our mastermind last night, John, and was talking about when we asked about ideas for businesses. He said, after the fact, because my mind was racing so much, I came up with 8 or 9 business ideas.
Nice.
And I said, man, wait till here's what's going to happen. Because again, not everybody in the network is going to work with us. But one of those business ideas will resonate with somebody in the network. Y'all will develop a relationship. And out of that may very well come $1 billion business right out of this incubator. So if any of this resonates with you, reach out to us. We'd love to have what we call a quick meet and greet meeting to determine if there's any alignment between what you're wanting to accomplish and we're doing. And if that's the case, we got a network with open arms ready to welcome you. John, why don't you finish this out?
Yeah, I mean, if you stayed this long, you probably liked a couple of things that we said. Like the video, share the video with someone that you think would make a difference, like for them. And if you want to stay up to date on the conversation, go ahead and subscribe. I think it's down over here somewhere, and you get notified every time we drop a new video. I think that's it, right? Those are the three main things.
Awesome. Well, then, until next time, thanks for tuning in.